How had this sheep got into the wires is just unknown, but it was so much grateful for its rescue. As well as the dog that was taken hardly out of the alligator's jaws. What about the heartwarming behavior of an elephant that was pulled out of a hole with a backhoe? Or the wild leopard calmly let to be taken off the trap? What are people able to do for their pets? The brave man threw himself into the water with berserk fury to get his pup right out of the alligator's jaws. He finally snatched the reptile out of the water and, struggling, unclenched his teeth. This thirsty leopard tried to get to water in the iron tank and got stuck. That dangerous predator was now looking for rescue. But how did it know that humans would rescue it? That's just a mystery. But the wild predator was waiting patiently for help and didn't try to escape. The little boar nearly drowned, but he was rescued. Just look at his happy and grateful sweet face. A diver on the coast of Florida was approached by a shark. Attack? No. The fish was behaving strangely, peacefully, but some obsessive. The diver examined it carefully and found a large fishing hook on its belly, which was tormenting the shark. It turns out that the fish knew that this man would relieve it of its suffering. And these pups had to be rescued one by one from the flood. Fortunately, the evacuation was successful. The young deer got stuck between the bars and was panicking. A woman named Chloe, who was just jogging, couldn't stay indifferent, but what could she do? Indeed, use her bare hands to bend the bars? Yes, that's right. That's the benefits of exercise. But that wasn't the end of the story. A few minutes later, Chloe saw the same deer, which again tried to get through the bars of the fence and got stuck for a second time. She had to use her superpower again and rescue the poor guy. And here's a whole team of rescuers trying to get the cow out of the trap where the animal's head fallen in. And they had to free its head from the setup and drive away the aggressive bull at the same time. It cost the rescue team a lot of effort to rescue the sheep. They used a ladder, approached from different sides, and climbed to the top. But the sheep was rescued and released, except he didn't get away. The animal not only stayed, but also approached people, literally looking into the eyes of their rescuers. And this pet was attacked by a python which grabbed the victim, began strangling him and dragging him under the water. Luckily, the dog's owners were no slouch. They had clearly been trained by John Wick, so violently they wrestled the dog away from the giant snake. The sea turtle didn't just swim up to the scuba diver for help. It feels like it literally wants to say something like, "Hey man, I've got something sticking in my back, help me out, get it off." Look into her eyes. After being rescued from the clam attacker, the reptile seemed to nod slightly with thanks. And this turtle was trying to escape from a shark on board a human vessel. The reptile must have realized that there was no other way out, but how amazing and touching that it was looking and found salvation from humans. The eagle got stuck on an electric cable, and people not only flew a helicopter into the air, but risked electrocution to save the bird. And here, a whole trio of coyote pups got caught in a football goal. The rescuer had to actually cut them out of the net. The dog got stuck in the tent while he was home alone. A policeman climbed over the fence to free it. The animal, though almost panicked, did not run away once it was free. It threw itself into the man's arms. This shark swam up to the fishing boat on its own as it became entangled in the rubbish. People were shocked. A fish hoping for human help? What's more, after being rescued, it wagged its tail appreciatively. The baby dolphin became entangled in the nets and twitched until he realized that they weren't trying to eat him, but to help him. Then the animal settled down in human hands. The hedgehog couldn't get out of the jar on his own. Can you imagine its panic? But when the man helped the animal, it didn't try to escape or wrap itself up in a ball, it just stood there and looked at the man curiously. However, even a snake deserves mercy sometimes. The anaconda was entangled in the fisherman's net and had to be rescued by a group of people. And once freed, the reptile didn't fight back or try to hide, but allowed itself to be photographed. The kangaroo was not only very grateful to the man for helping him, he became so attached to him that he didn't want to let him go. A video of the kangaroo reaching out like a baby and trying to cuddle the wildlife rescuer with a bucket of food has gone viral. Macaques have been known to steal food from tourists, but these monkeys were surprisingly polite. They seemed to know the rules of etiquette and culturally came up to ask for water on a hot day, and calmly took the treat. That little dot on the screen is a squirrel. It was running from a predator and, in a panic, tried to swim across a pond. And when it realized it couldn't do it, it swam up to the boat itself. How did it know that people wouldn't hurt it? Nevertheless, the animal bravely jumped on board. The duck lost its baby in the drainage system. The baby just fell through and got stuck. Surprisingly, the bird really behaves as if it's waiting for help from people, walking around, looking out for someone, and quacking. Luckily, the baby bird was actually rescued. As it turned out, there were several baby birds. The duck watched the rescue fearfully, but didn't drive people away, and then calmly went after the cage with the cubs. To keep them from falling in again, the family was freed in the park. An entire excavator had to be used to rescue this elephant, a scoop used to help the multi-tonnage animal out of the hole, and this is what elephant gratitude looks like. A huge adult giraffe fell into a pool. He tried to get out on his own and kept people away, but then he calmed down and let be pulled out. It didn't panic at all, but trusted strangers. A group of people had gone fishing, and on their way they noticed a crane hanging on a snag. The bird was stuck in old fishing gear. Amazingly, the feathered creature stayed on the boat even briefly with its rescuers, as if thanks to them. The crowd spotted the dog in the cold river. The animal clearly wasn't able to swim across it, so the man, who was wearing a life jacket, rushed to help the animal straight into the cold water. The dog, panicking, even bit his rescuer, but then the man still managed to pull the dog out on the shore. The bird was trying to find shade and got stuck under the car's number plates. In order to save it, the man even damaged with his own property. But most importantly, the bird turned out to be uninjured and was able to take off. Wildlife enthusiasts rescued and released several owls, but one of them was unable to maintain its altitude and fell into the water. After that, it swam purposefully towards the people. The owl knew they would help her again and trusted them, even though she was helpless with wet feathers. But gratitude is not the main thing, saving a life is more important. A white shark got carried away by chasing a seal and ended up on the beach. The protagonist of Jaws was hardly expecting people to help, but they were not indifferent and rescued the predator. This fox doesn't ask, she takes what she needs. It tried to steal the fisherman's bag of food, but surprisingly, when the man approaches the supplies, the animal doesn't run away, but patiently waits to be shared with him. Moreover, the wild fox takes food from the man's hand, showing his trust in the stranger. This woman was minding her own business, taking boxes to the rubbish bin when she noticed a drowning squirrel in the water tank. The girl not only rescued the animal, but also warmed it up and then released it. Amazingly, the squirrel didn't forget the kindness and came to visit the girl for the next few days. Do you agree that animals are capable of feeling gratitude? Please reply in the comments. Gift us with your like, subscribe to our channel, and tell us what you'd like to see future stories about.